Before we start this, I'm going to be at TFCon in 3 days on Saturday the 8th. Sorry for the super late notice, I only just decided to get tickets for it this week. I'm going to try and make up for the complete debacle I made of it last time. Trust me when I say you are going to recognize me when you see me. There is no chance that you go, maybe that's PerspectiveEnd. I'm not going around in a giant helmet of my logo or anything. It will be at least more subtle than that. If you see me, feel free to say hi, get a picture. If you want anything signed, I'll be happy to do that too, provided that I remember to bring a pen or can find one. Hope to see you there, and not to make as big a mess of it as I did last time. Starting out, I think that I may have transferred my curse to the Bat-Kibble boys. If I quit that show, do you think the curse would follow me back out, or do you think they'd be stuck with it now? I've not been showing the names of the people who've been helping me get these pictures in a while, just because there are so many of them that I could fill several screens with it. And none of them are getting a special acknowledgement, so it feels kind of pointless to flashbang everyone with a bunch of names no one ever reads. But I know who's helping me, and I want you all to know that I'm incredibly grateful. As always, a huge thanks to everyone who keeps me informed about all the figures coming out. For everyone who's ever helped me like this, it's been such a load off my shoulders. It's too thankless a thing you do for me, so I just want you all to know that it means a lot. And there's a lot to cover this time. An absolutely ludicrous number of reveals. So let's just get into it. But first, your likes! Please do, and maybe subscribe. Let's start off with the kind of boring things and get progressively cooler over time. The new Perceptor. It's just an obvious 86 Perceptor repaint. Really, they've just changed the color of the chest and the grays are a little bit lighter. Plus, they painted the face a more matte color, and I think they got rid of even the hope of the microscope having functionality. It looks slightly more like the 86 movie like this, and it was a good figure to begin with. If you don't have one already, I recommend this. If you already do, this is an easy skip, unless you want to trade your old one to someone else or something. The only reason you might want it is the Ratbat and Ranhorn that it's coming with, which, oh, this is bullshit. As you can all probably tell by looking at Ratbat's sculpting, this is the one that came out in Siege. That fucker was impossible to get, and now he's back out again, and he's bundled with Perceptor, meaning that it'll be basically as hard as ever to acquire. Thanks for nothing, Hasbro. And then there's Ranhorn too. What are these doing with Perceptor? I know that there's a shot in the 86 movie where Ratbat is trying to claw out Perceptor's eyes, but he's otherwise unassociated with either of these characters. Let's be real, this is just an excuse to charge Voyager price for a deluxe, isn't it? Then you have, is this not Hot Shot or not Hot Rod? Not Shot. Not Rod. Those both sound sexual. Rod Shot. No, that also sounds sexual. This figure sucks. It sucked in the normal colors and it sucks here too. I don't even know who this is supposed to be or why we should care, when it just looks like Hot Rod's irradiated anorexic cousin. Then you have Studio Series Gamer Edition Devastation Elite Seeker, and I am just so offended by this. Why in the ever-loving fuck did you guys release a Devastation Optimus Prime in deluxe scale and then not make a new Conehead Seeker in also deluxe scale? Were you trying to make these two figures as out of scale as possible? Optimus is supposed to be significantly bigger than this dude, but no, because Hasbro was, I don't know, fucking horny for this fucking shit-ass mold, they have to re-release it again in place of literally anything better. This garbage mold was never acceptable. Not one time was this thing even approaching good, and I am so sick of the constant re-releases. And what pisses me off even more is that it's coming with the Ground Soldier, a figure that I actually want. Sure, it's not perfect for the character, as instead of its own mold, it's a runabout runamuck retool, but you know what? They tried with this. Like, the backpack works a completely new way, and it looks pretty good in both modes. They put more effort into this than the Seeker, and I love the game, so I wish this wasn't saddled with that other piece of shit. His dick is still laughing at me, though. Then there's Iron Fist and Carnivac. Carnivac looks kind of boring, as it's just a flat recolor of Titan's Return Weirdwolf, though hopefully with the breakage issues resolved this time. The mono purple of most of it both does and does not work in a weird way. It both looks really stupid, and I kind of like how stupid it looks. Meanwhile, Iron Fist is a heavy Earthrise Hound retool, and while I appreciate the effort they went to, man do I not want to own a figure of like, the most selfish character in all of the Transformers. The piece of shit asshole who knew for a fact that he was going to have a brain aneurysm in the next few minutes, but he really wanted to live for those next 120 seconds. So he pissed and moaned about needing to die for the mission until someone else blew their brains out in his place, all the while he's whining about how war isn't as heroic as I wanted it to be. And it's not supposed to be insufferable. You are supposed to feel bad for him. God, fuck Iron Fist so hard. Also, eat it, you baby bitch douchebag. They fucked up the sculpt of your head so bad it doesn't even look like you. Fuck, I hate Iron Fist. He should have died going foot first through a wood chipper, not quietly unknowingly passing basically peacefully. Lastly, for the less hype stuff, they are reissuing Siege Skyfire in what looks to be a cleaner, more show-accurate color scheme with two old G.I. Joe-style figures to represent the Void Rivals characters. Yes, I know it's technically a comic edition of them or whatever, but either way, it looks more show-accurate. They really could have stood to resculpt the face, as it's still too sinister for Skyfire, but this is both excellent looking, and so many people who missed out on the original figure finally have a chance to get their hands on it. The first Commander is still the best one, I say. So if you've never picked him up, this gets a full recommend from me. Now for the completely new stuff. Alchemist Prime was revealed. I love how in every continuity now, he's supposed to be McAdam. Alt mode reminds me of Reactivate Soundwave. This design is a little smooth and Transformers Prime-like for my taste. You know me. I like squares. And the posing doesn't look to be amazing. Plus, from these pictures, it looks kind of small, but I could be completely wrong about that. However, it does look like they're trying a good bit here, and I do still like the look of it. It's probably going to be good. Then there's the upcoming Cybertron Sideways. Corporate wants you to find the difference between these two pictures. They're the same picture. This is so obscenely close to the original Sideways figure, it's insane. They look completely identical. My guess is that the only difference between this and the almost 2-decade-old toy at this point is just the weapon won't be spring-loaded. I mean, it wasn't a bad figure back in the day, and I don't envy them trying to figure out ways to improve it, but like, it never looks this close. There's basically no stylization going on here whatsoever. This doesn't look like it belongs on your modern chug shelf. This is 1-to-1. Though, I suppose Alchemist Prime was also remarkably out of style with the normal Legacy aesthetic. I want to be clear that I'm not saying that this is bad for this. It's weird that it looks so utterly unchanged from 20 years ago, but it was good at the time, so this will probably hold up. I mean, maybe this is a fully new figure and it just looks exactly the same, who's to say? But it looks like a re-release. All I'm saying is that I find it weird that it's so indistinguishable when that hasn't been the MO for a while. Since even Siege, the idea has been faithful but unified, and this thing is going to stand out on your shelf. Then there is the new color pictures of the Missing Link RC. And am I crazy, or does this thing look too good? I know they had basically only an image to go off of, but this doesn't look like an old toy with better articulation. It looks almost modern. I do feel silly complaining about a figure being too nice, and the idea for this is amazingly cool. Genius is the word that I would use to describe this decision, but the vibe feels off. And not like in a bad way, not like a, oh, don't get this, the vibe is off kind of way, just in like a true way. It feels like the vibe is not quite the one it's supposed to have. I'm down for this either way, it's just odd. The Bad Old Colors version seems more in line with what it's supposed to be like, and I'm glad that we can see some shoulder rotation there. Though do the elbows work at all if the arms aren't out to the side? Then there's Onyx Prime, and I was not expecting this. Not the figure, the colors. Those are way too boring for a design this ostentatious. Personally, I always imagined green, or purple and green. Or, you know, this, the one that he's actually shown to have in the comics. And when this was announced, it was at least in red, but now that we see it, and it's all just various shades of dookie. You look at the wingtips and you tell me that I'm wrong. Even so, this is still a really cool design. Super weird how the battle mask works, and I love how you can turn him from a centaur into a biped. The design changes so much, that's a really cool feature. I don't, however, love the beast mode. It's just him on hands and knees with a different head. They don't incorporate the battle mask, they don't use the centaur legs at all. Hell, it's even just his normal hands and feet. He's just got them open. This looks like a dude in bad cosplay. Not a Transformer, a dude. But I'm still excited for this. Then there's these actual little Hot Wheels Transformers. The G1 Optimus Prime crossover figure tells me that these will be like $80, but these kind of rule. And man, this is what I always wanted from Hot Wheels. Things that turn into other things. That's like my favorite thing. The blue guy has to have one of the worst names of all time though. Twin Mill. Dear Lord, that sucks. But he at least looks really cool, and the other guy is called Bone Shaker, and he looks even cooler, so he's all in. His ult mode is way more what Skullgrin should have been. That rocks, and I love it. And finally, and most hype of all, we have Vortex. And after what happened with Superion, this is like a breath of fresh air. No matter what, at least, ooh, that robot mode looks good. There's a bit of kibble on the arms, but that's not a big deal. The sculpt is on point, and it looks so much like him, it gives me hope that the rest of these dudes will look at least this good. Alt mode could use a little work, though. He looks like a van that you stuck a helicopter's rotor on. The proportions are just thoroughly incorrect. And I'm really worried that this is going to go on a combiner skeleton, because that's kind of what it looks like is going to happen. It's got like the stomach slit where the tab will go through and disconnect the lower half. And it better fucking not. The combiner skeleton is a thing that only makes sense for Menasor. He is the only dude that is 100% just a robot with other characters decorating his limbs. Bruticus is a dude made out of other dudes. If you want a skeleton combiner, then you don't want a combiner. You want an action figure that looks like a combiner. The thing that makes combiners cool is the fact that you make them by combining other people together, and the skeleton cheapens that to the point of complete ruination. Fitting for the Combaticons, or should I say the Commandos? If that box art is accurate, then Bruticus looks really cool. Fuck! That's the skeleton shoulder. God fucking damn it! There's a lot of really cool stuff in these reveals, but I'm a little bit extremely pissed off that I just realized that the art clearly shows that Bruticus is going to be ruined by being a skeleton combiner. Fuck off with this shit, Hasbro! Stop doing this! But I want almost everything else here, except for the Shit Rise Seeker and the Not Shot Hot Rod. All of it looks either really fun or really cool. I'm here for it. But man, there's suddenly a really sour taste in my mouth thanks to the dumbest trend in the Transformers. I do not understand the people who cheer on combiner skeletons. Stop ruining combiners and just start asking for red figures that look like combiners, because that's all the skeletons are. And before we go, let's thank a channel backer. And this time it's Nomad04 with Shattered Glass Grimlock. I assume that this means the Studio Series one. And man, this is one of the figures I regret not getting when it was available. It is such a bitchin' color scheme. Grimlock was already one of the best figures in recent memory, and this is in somehow even cooler colors. Damn it, why did I drag my feet on getting this? I want one so badly. It's so cool, it's so cool. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.